For the past 2 months, I've been attempting to pay my bills through playing poker, and I'm in the hole over $10,000. Have I considered giving up? Yes. But I once heard a saying, and it goes like this: to crave the result, but not the process, is to guarantee disappointment.
I know for sure, like, I did that good, like today.
Hands have mutually competing incentives versus when it's like a 4-bet pot. We're both gonna have a lot of the flushes, but they're in the middle parts of our.
I just wrapped up my 3rd poker coaching session to kick off my 3rd season of playing poker to pay my bills. Did not think it would go this long, but you know what they say, 3rd time's a charm. And I'm hoping that's the case because I can't afford to keep losing thousands and thousands of dollars every single month. But that was in the past, okay? It's a brand new day, it's a brand new season. Here's the plan. I'm about to drive an hour to play at the Fort Card Room, and the game plan remains the same. Be patient, stay disciplined. If I can do that, we're gonna win a bunch of money. So, let's go do just that.
This is my 3rd month of attempting to pay my bills through playing poker. I've failed miserably the past 2 months, but this month, I'm more focused than I've ever been. For my first session, I buy in for $1,000 to a 1-3 game at the Fort. Now, $1,000 might seem like a lot for a 1-3 game, but it's not a lot when everyone else's stacks look like this. For the first hour, I pick up some good hands, but I can't win a pot. My stack slowly bleeds down to around $800, but all it takes is one single hand to get you back headed in the right direction. I pick up ace-king of hearts in middle position and open to 15. The player to my left calls, the button calls, and so do both blinds. Not what I was hoping for. We're going 5 ways to a flop. We flop the nut flush draw. Action checks to me and I see bet for $35, just hoping to narrow down the field. And that's exactly what happens. Only the button calls. Now it's heads up. The turn doesn't improve my hand, but I still have a ton of equity against a lot of hands that my opponent could have. So I keep my foot on the gas and bet $175. If he folds, great. If he doesn't, we have a ton of outs. Thankfully, he folds. After over an hour of playing, I finally drag in my first pot, and that's when things started to change. I pick up pocket sixes in the small blind and call a $30 raise. The flop is pretty good. It's 8-6-8, giving me a full house. I call a $65 bet on the flop, and on the river, I try to get my opponent to raise by putting out a tiny blocker bet. Sadly, he doesn't take the bait, but he does call, so we scoop in a decent-sized pot. I'm only down around $50 now. Shortly after that hand, I decide to move seats, and it's a good thing I did, because as soon as I switch seats, I get involved in a massive PLO bomb pot. I flop top set on one board and the nut flush draw on the other. There's a bet and 2 calls. I pot it for over $200. 2 of the players call. I turn a boat on the top board and I still have the nut flush draw on the other. So I pot it again, putting myself all in for $650. One of the remaining players folds, but the other guy calls. I end up with a full house on the top board and I river the nut flush on the bottom. I show my hand and obviously we're good, so we scoop a huge pot and get a full double up and then some. I'm up over $1,000 now. I lose a few small pots and my stack takes a small hit before I look down at 2 black aces. I open to 15 and get 2 callers. I started with a check on the flop and the player to my left snap bets $80. The other player folds. And yes, that's Wolfgang. Anyways, I just call. The turn puts a 4-liner to a straight on the board, and I check again. He grabs a pile of chips and slams them in the middle. There's a chance we're dead, but the price is just too good to fold. I call. The river's basically a brick, and I check for a 3rd time. This time, he checks it back and shows pocket queens. How the heck did he not 3-bet pre-flop? I played for another hour or so, but nothing interesting really happened. The session was smooth and I never really got into any tough spots. After playing for around 5 hours, I cashed out, booking a nice win of over $900. But the next session I played wasn't nearly as easy. I feel like such an idiot right now. A few days later, I get another coaching session. Things are actually starting to make more sense, and I'm feeling dialed before my next session. For my next session, I'm playing in a private game in downtown Dallas. The stakes are 1-3 and I'm in for $1,000. We play 5-handed for the first hour and I start off by winning a nice pot my very first hand. Sadly, that was the peak of the night for me. One player busted and decided to leave, and then another player decided he didn't want to play four-handed, so then there were 3 of us. I stopped filming after the first 10 minutes because nothing interesting was happening, but as soon as I stopped filming, things went south in a heartbeat.
I feel like such an idiot right now. And actually, this is the only time in the entire challenge where I almost didn't report what happened to you guys, but I lost money playing poker, so I have to keep it real. I have to tell you guys what happened, but yeah, I just had a 45-minute drive home in dead silence, and I'm sure you all know what that's like. It sucks. Here's what happened. We were playing 5-handed for like an hour and a half, and then a bunch of people flaked on the game that were supposed to show up. So when one of us busted, when one of the other players busted, he decided he didn't want to rebuy, so he left. And then another guy left, and then there were 3 of us left, and I was the worst player out of the last 3 left, and I decided, let's play 3-handed for another 30 minutes. What could possibly go wrong? It started out with me bleeding a few chips, and then I had like 600 left, and I had King Jack of Hearts. I flopped top pair. Board was Jack high, and I got it all in versus Jack 9. Turns a 9, I get scooped. We got it all in on the flop, keep that in mind. So boom, there goes the first buy-in. Second buy-in, I have ace king. I 4-bet pre-flop, get called, go heads up. I flop top pair, top kicker, comes king high. I bet half pot, he turns a straight, we get it all in. I get scooped again. Third buy-in, I have a trash hand. I flop bottom 2 pair. The other guy flops a straight with another trash hand. We get it all in on the turn, and I get scooped. But that was probably one of the most expensive lessons I've ever learned. And the lesson I learned is if you're at a table where you're the worst player, leave. And yeah, that's the result. I lost $3,000. So now I'm down like $2,100 to kick off season 3, and that's awesome. Gosh. Anyways, I guess I'll see y'all Thursday.
It's been 2 days since I had that $3,000 loss. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't still in the back of my mind. But you have to treat each session as a new start. You can't hold on to what happened in previous sessions. For my 3rd session, I'm back at the fort. Once again, I buy in for $1,000, but today, nobody's got a massive stack at the table. At least not yet. Right off the bat, I lose $150 in a PLO double board bomb pot. Then for the next 30 minutes, I proceed to bleed chips. I picked up good hands, but I just couldn't connect with the board or find a good spot to bluff. After playing for over an hour, I finally win a small bomb pot to recoup some of my losses. And then I play a pot that will leave you speechless. I'm in the small blind and look down at pocket 10s. There's an open to 20, 2 callers, and then a 3-bet from the button to 55. The button is the wildest player I've ever played with. He knows I'm a tight player, and I know he's the opposite. I put in the 4-bet to $230. One by one, the other players all fold. Now it's back on the button. He takes all of 5 seconds before announcing all in for $1,000. I know I just said he's the wildest player I've ever played with, but in the past, he's always ended up with the better hand when I played pots against him. I just lost $3,000 2 days ago. If I call and lose, I'll be down another $1,000. I go back and forth between calling and folding, and then we get involved in some bizarre table talk.
You want to call?
Up to you. I got a pair here. I'm sure you got a pair over there.
How big is your pair?
Medium.
Medium. Okay, I called.
He literally tells me he has a medium pocket pair, and he wasn't lying. He has pocket 7s. We're a massive favorite to win this hand. We're running it twice. The first board is clean, and on the second board, we flop a set, and he's drawn dead on the turn. I get a full double up and a 5-bet pot with pocket 10s. I'm up $1,000 now. My very next hand being dealt, I pick up King Jack on the button. I call the $30 raise pre-flop and flop top pair. A short stack to my right bets 25. I don't know why, but I race to 55. And yes, that rhymed. The other players fold, and the short stack goes all in for $75. I call, and he has ace king. We don't improve, and we lose $100 that we didn't really need to lose. Shortly after that hand, I lose another small pot, and now I have around $1,800 in my stack when I look down at pocket kings. Open to 35. For the first time all day, it folds all the way around. But thankfully, the button straddle calls. We're heads up. The flop is dry, and I decide to check, hoping he'll take the bait. He doesn't. The turn looks clean, and I bet pot, hoping it'll look like a bluff. He calls. The river's a brick, and this is where the hand gets crazy. I think this guy's a non-believer. He probably thinks I just have ace high, but that's what I want him to think. I assemble a massive bet and overbet the pot for $275. Oh wait, he folds. That was the last hand I played at that table because a few people left and the table broke. So I racked up and moved to another table. At this new table, there's some big stacks and the action looks good. Shortly after sitting down, I won a small pot with Jack 9 of diamonds, but for the next hour, nothing significant really happens. I'm up around $800 at this point and I'm getting ready to leave. But then I get involved in a massive hand. We're playing a double board PLO bomb pot. I get dealt a horrible hand, but I flop the nut straight with a gut shot to a straight flush on one board, and I have bottom pair with a flush draw that's probably no good on the other. Action checks to me on the flop. I pot it for $45. 2 players call. We're going 3 ways to 2 turns. On the top board, the turn is a queen. We still have the nuts there. And on the bottom board, it's a 10, improving us to 2 pair. Once again, action checks to me. And once again, I pot it. This time for $180. And once again, they both call. What is going on? In my mind, one of them has to have the nut flush draw, so I don't want to see a heart on either board. The first river is a heart. That's not good. But the other river is another 4, giving us a full house, which may or may not be good. The player first to act checks, and now the other player jams for less than the pot. We're more than likely chopping, so I just call and the other player folds. I show my cards, and to my surprise, he doesn't show his. He looks over at mine, looks back at his in disgust, and mucks. Somehow we're good on both boards. We scoop a huge pot at the very end of the session. When it was all said and done, I left with a mountain of chips, cashing out for over $2,500, which means I made a profit of over $1,500. After 1 week, I'm only down $550, which isn't that bad considering I had a $3,000 loss earlier this week. But next week, things get interesting.
Quads. Holy shit.